my mom would have thought this would be way over the top. I asked her like what kind of funeral she wanted, and she said, I said, do you want a big funeral? She's like, hell no, just dump me somewhere. Who gives a rat's ass? So this would have been way over the top for her, but it warms my heart that everyone was here and sharing their stories and their memories of her. And she taught me everything I know. She taught me how to do this. Slip cover a sofa, make curtains, make pillows, have an epic party with no money, make a gourmet meal with no food. And she really knew how to have a good time. She was a happy person. And she passed that along to all of us. She always had a smile on her face. She was always upbeat and optimistic. And we all are carrying that with us. I really didn't even know what I was going to say.
You're doing a great job.
She had a lot of funny sayings. She's like, no guts, no glory. Deaf as a post, blind as a bat, dumb as a rock. Sharp as a tack, ugly as a mud fence, mean as a snake, happy as a pig in mud. Tough as wet leather, right on her schedule, useless as a man's tit, puts hair on your chest, who gives a rat's ass, don't know whether it should or go blind, and I just want to slap him blind. So she was always like my in-between between my dad and I, who was super strict, and my mom was like, anything you ever said to her, she's like, go for it. Sounds great. Great idea, no matter how ridiculous it was. Otherwise, my dad would be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We got to think about this. We got to think about this a little. And then when I was a teenager and not well endowed, I'm like, what's up with this? What did you pass down to me? She's like, more than a mouthful's of weight. So she had a lot of one-liners, and she's an awesome, awesome person, and we're all going to miss her terribly. We all love her, and thank you guys so much for coming. It means a great deal.
Thanks.
So you want these guys to read some of these?
Yeah, just
Austin,
you
wanna
can
read
open
one?
them up. Yeah.
Yeah, look at that.
I guess I just want to say who it's from, but
Yeah, don't say who it's
Yeah,
from.
don't say who it's from.
I'll try to.
Some were mine. I
Well,
just
two
like
of them,
sorted
but
it out.
not, but not a bad one. If you see a C, it's not the one I was going to put in there, which I'm still going to put in there.
All right, so this is the first one. It says, no one will ever make baby girl sound as loving as she did. She used to say, baby, hi, baby girl.
Hi, baby girl. Whenever she'd walk in the room, she'd go, hi, lovey dove.
I remember when your mom was in the kitchen and cooking, she had olive oil all over her hair, and she said it keeps your perm longer. I remember Kurt talking about how athletic she was. The boys were impressed with her when they were little. She was a cool grandma, according to C-Dub.
Yeah. I mean, you guys remember when she would maybe have too much to drink and do splits and front walkovers and backflips?
Oh yeah.
She always regretted that the next day.
Her amazing sense of humor and her unconditional love for Landon. She was always so proud of her family.
Yes.
One of my favorite memories is how she would paint her shoes to match her dress for all the parties.
With fingernail polish.
Wow.
It would take a while.
Yeah.
This looks like it might be.
Yeah, go ahead.
Might be blackmail. Remember the time after we, Greg, me, and others had gone to Night of the Living Dead and intended to sleep in the backyard. Penny went out, stuck her dead-looking arm out of the tent, and we got so scared we leapt over the fence trying to run away.
I thought you went to see The Exorcist.
No, I
And
think
she
it
like
was- it was
hung her.
She would put it under the
Yeah.
tent.
And we were going to go to bed and we had a flashlight and we see this arm sticking out. We didn't even get, there was no,
No, you big tough guys.
Giving us raw chicken meat to fish for blue crabs in her canal behind her house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Good. Yeah.
That must have been
Yeah.
Oh, how to drive. She taught me how to drive by speeding as fast as I could and then slammed on the brakes as if a deer runs out in front of me.
Oh, yeah, you probably got that
Her
from her.
Gima just hit the deer. I'm more important.
My favorite memories with Gma were the times we spent at her Ocean Pines houses. She was so blunt and raw, I never had to guess about what she was thinking. She taught me to not be afraid of experimenting with home projects. I loved the hanging bed in her house. Her personality and creativity will always be with me.
That's awesome.
that's perfect.
That is
Well
perfect.
said, yep.
I think that might be the last one.
Blunt and
These
raw.
are pictures.
Yeah.
Blunt
That
and-
was-
She didn't sugarcoat
Gail
anything.
has
Yeah,
that too. Gail has that too, a little bit.
Oh, who wrote that?
I
Quinn.
don't know. I love Gma art and her.
I love
I love
Gima's art.
Gima's
and
art and I love her.
And this, the other one
No,
was,
this is art and that's her.
this is, the other one was, Linda, you wrote one, didn't you?
Oh, you read one of them. You read one.
That was the olive oil.
Yeah. I was the olive oil store, you don't remember? She was cooking at the same time. She was cooking at the same time.
Hey, are you sure you do one voicemail to cap it off?
No.
You can't pick which one.
No, we listened to her voicemails last night and we were
Oh,
just
we were
all
laughing
hysterical.
so hard.
Everybody needs a flu shot.
Yeah. I mean,
Oh my
she would
God.
call me like 4 or 5 times a day and she didn't really remember what we talked about like the first 1 or 2 times and then she would just call randomly like, we have to have a flu shot. And then she'd call randomly and just say, where's Andy? Where is she living now? I need to talk to her. Just random stuff. She was at the end.
I'm not really sure right
I know.
now. Be a lot of places.
True.
At the end, she was really losing her short-term memory, and she knew it, and it really upset her. So it was peaceful, and I'm happy for her that she's at peace because it bothered her because she knew it. It's one thing if you don't know, but
What was amazing is that she was losing her short-term memory, but you know, if you asked her, I asked her one day, what was it like when you were going to school as a little girl? And she just like launched into this story of, well, we would get on the cart and the pony would take us to school. Like, what? And she's like, pony would take us to school, it knew right where to sit to wait for us, and then we loaded up and went back. And so, and then like, you know, around Christmas, I'd ask her what were your family Christmas traditions, and she just knew.
She
I mean,
remembered
all
that.
of those stories were embedded, and they weren't going anywhere. Which was really, you know, if we
That's nice.
remembered to ask her those things
Yeah.
instead of what'd you eat for lunch.
yeah. So when she passed away, I went
idea.
no idea.
No idea.
Yeah. When she passed away, I went through her her address book and called some of her old friends. And one of her friends, Kirk McAllister, Kirk is a girl that she went to high school with, and she said, those flowers out there are from Waynesboro High School. Those people loved her, and she sent me this whole long list of things that people said, her high school friends. And Kirk said, I'm gonna give a donation to the SPCA because when your mom was 15, she worked at the SPCA and she let all the dogs out. They're running around all over town.
She loved it.
Yeah, she said
On
it's
purpose.
Yeah.
much more like controlled now.
Yeah.
She got fired.
Short
Yeah, short
Donation,
career.
her name will work.
But she was a great, creative, incredibly creative, wonderfully funny person.
Yeah, let me just say something real quick. I mean, it just can't be appreciated how talented she was with regard to creativity. I
Yes.
mean, not just in putting things together That one about painting the shoes was definitely the best I've ever heard.
Yeah, that's great.
But also, just in terms of, obviously her artistic abilities were otherworldly. I mean, she wasn't just talented, that was ridiculous. I mean, I look at that and go, God, why didn't we have an agent for her? Because she was so talented. And then the other thing that people don't, or most of you know, but she could cook like nobody's business. And she had that
Salad queen.
that Virginia, that southern, motif perfectly. I mean, her like sausage and biscuits, and she made chocolate chip cookies. I don't know how she made them the way she did, but they were
we
different.
called them eat-me's.
Oh my God. And she, like Greg growing up, look how big and strong she always had. But in terms of her enthusiasm, I mean, she made him a special concoction, with brewer's yeast and wheat germ and a couple other things. And we couldn't get enough of it. I mean, we were all trying to figure it out. But she was just the most incredible, mom because of her enthusiasm. And like you said, her bluntness. And I know this story is kind of funny, but I've told Gail a million times, but it's still perfect to her because Gail says to me one day, well, Mom says you're nervous and we're supposed to be nice to you because your dad died. I said, well, so that was classic.
I was probably 10 or 12.
No, but that's where it came right from her right through you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that.
One of her famous dishes, we all camped together down at Assateague every year. And every afternoon, Michael would bring us beer during the day, and in the afternoon, the ladies all got together and put out.
The put-out group.
That was Penny's term.
Not
It was
Penny's.
a-
I'm sure the put-out ladies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Women don't do that anymore.
They got real quiet. So the little dishes they would make hors d'oeuvres, really wonderful little dishes. And every day it was something special. Penny's Day, you go in, and she's gone out and gotten pony manure and bird feathers and grasses, and that's what she put out.
Oh, but it had Triscuits in it. Like Mr. Knoll was like,
I'm sure
That's hilarious.
Remember, we would go to Assateague though, we would never know when we would wake up the next day where we'd find the bikes. Because remember, they would drink all night in their screen
they
tent.
had their own adult screen tent. We weren't allowed anywhere near it.
And we'd see bikes and showers and.
But you couldn't leave the island.
Oh, no.
No, it was safe. It was safe.
Stay there.
We
Still
tried
on the edge, going, please.
We tried to be as bad as we could. Oh, we were dying to get off that place, but we had the best childhood. We had the best childhood.
So by the
great.
time they found pot in her tackle box.
Oh yeah, that was not good.
Huge scandal.
I don't think I was there that year.
Oh yeah?
Tackle
Oh,
box.
yeah,
That's not
you were
bad.
there.
Tackle box. No.
Yeah.
I remember one year she played Pink Floyd Animals for a whole year. She loved Pink Floyd Animals.
Well, tell them that story about you guys.
Oh my gosh.
That's because when Greg and I would sort of enhance our personality.
Yeah.
We would go up in his room and like lay on the floor, close our eyes and listen to Pink Floyd.
I know.
And I opened my eyes one time and there's Mrs. Robertson laying right beside me. Listening to Pink Floyd, just jamming out.
Keep in mind that Greg painted his room black and put glow-in-the-dark stars all over
And
it.
Kiss.
It was kind of
It
cool.
said Kiss on it.
Oh, yeah.
And we were talking last night. We're like, we were like 8 or 10, and my mom like taught all of us like to dance. She's like, step on that cigarette, step on that cigarette, step on that cigarette.
That's pretty good move, actually.
While she's smoking a cigarette.
Yeah, exactly.
You knew.
Yeah, you knew.
I wanted to read, so I've been, I guess, writing letters to Grandma like my entire life. And so for open mic poetry night in Bozeman the other night, I kind of put them in order and read a couple of them. So I'd like to do that, and it's pretty short, but it's kind of cool. Because the one thing that I realized was that a lot of what I wrote to her when I was 9, the things I was talking about, were a lot of the things that I talked about when I wrote to her when I was like 29. So I think that we shared a deep reverence for nature and for animals and colors and just all the beauty of the natural world. So I think that these kind of showcase that. So just read them. So October 9th, 1995. So that would make me 7. Hi, Grandma. Over the weekend, our last chrysalis turned into a butterfly. Now I'm going to Miss Squirty and Mr. Chubby. They were pretty butterflies, and we just let Squirty go, and he flew right up into a tree. Bye, Grandma. Love, Lulu. Dear Grandma, how are you doing? I'm fine. I want to come to your house so bad. Have you seen any baby ducks or geese lately? You know those eggs we got that one day? Well, I think they were mosquito eggs. I went with Uncle Greg and we got frog eggs and mosquito eggs. The frog eggs were clear with a black dot in the middle. We will have to remember that next time, okay? We also got fish, a beetle, and some snails. I can't wait to get in the canoe at your house. I love you. Bye. P.S. Thank you for the journal and the stationery and the stamps. And the pencils with erasers and some erasers without pencils. I'm using them right now. That was June 13th, 1998. And then these are more recent. This is a card that I wrote her when I had just moved to Montana. So February 7th, 2018. Dear Grandma, I bought this card when I was in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, visiting Grand Teton National Park last week. Now I'm living in Bozeman, Montana, and I love it here. It's beautiful. A lot of snow and blue skies every day. I've been tapping into the creativity that you've passed down to me. Instead of painting or drawing, I'm writing, of course, and have been working on poetry. I'm even thinking about sharing some of it at the open mic nights here in town. The beauty of this land is so inspiring. There will never be too many sunsets, and I feel like a kid again. Thank you for being you, Grandma, and for showing me what it means to live a creative life. You will always be an inspiration to me. And this is the last one. Was a journal entry that kind of turned into a letter. May 3rd, 2018. Dear Grandma, happy birthday. You would have been 78 today, but who's counting? I went to visit the tree last night at sunset, the one that reminds me of you, with her thick, strong branches and cracked bark where the barbed wire tried to tame her. She has remnants of a kid's tree fort way up high, worn wooden 2x4s and a rickety old ladder. There are so many memories in her body, generations of love, laughter, growth, and I'm sure heartache and change. The neighbors probably think I'm crazy because I sat in the dirt and leaned up against the trunk and cried for a long time as the sun turned the Bridger Mountains pink and a mallard couple floated down the creek. There's so much new life here this month, Grandma. The spring energy is palpable, and there's this purple wildflower I've not yet identified, but it looks and smells like a miniature hyacinth. It's so intoxicating. I leaned my head back and pretended I was sitting in your lap while you braided my hair, and I swore I heard the clanking of your silver bangles. I wish I had asked you what art meant to you, or what life meant to you, or how we're supposed to know what we're put on this earth to do or who to be. I wish I would have sat one more time and watched you paint and watched your eyes light up and your heart flow through your hands to create another masterpiece. Another masterpiece of effortless beauty. Last night the orange and pink faded to blue and then to black, and the stars came out, and it really felt like a summer night here in town. I walked home in the dark and saw lightning in the distance. Did you paint all of that just for me? Maybe I am watching you create. Take care of yourself, Grandma. I'll see you soon. I look forward to toasted tomato sandwiches with slathers of mayo, spring soil, and canoe trips down the canal. I love you, and I miss you so much already. Love, Andy. Ending on sweating and crying.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Does anyone else want to say anything? I mean, I know there's tons to say, and everybody said a whole bunch. I can't say anything different. Just from a boy's perspective. I guess now that I've started talking, maybe I should. So I will just go, just step out of the let's talk a little bit about discipline, okay? Because we haven't talked about that yet. But when I was growing up, you know, it was my mother who taught me discipline. She was the person who I much more respected because she delivered any sort of punishment in a way that made me learn and not made me mad. Dad always, you know, made me mad. So having said that, you know, there were so many times in my life, and a lot of those terms that she liked to use were invented because of me. So my mother, she could outrun me, and she has broken a lot. And if for anybody in here that was not born before the year 1970, we got our ass spanked, and we got spanked a lot. And Mom was really good at it, and so she's broken many wooden spoons, and she would always go for the back of the thigh. But it was also my mom who, you know, said, look, you know, if you're going to play sports and you're always going to be dirty, you're going to go out and look for bugs, then you need to learn how to wash your clothes. And so it was early on that I was washing my own clothes. And if you're going to be eating all this food, you're eating us out of house and home, and you need to learn how to cook. So she was the person who taught me how to cook. And those are the important things that I think that Gail was expressing. She was really good at it. You know, she was able to deliver it in a way that made you want to do it and not make you feel like you had to do it. This is what is best. You figure out how it works best for you, and then kind of go on from there. So anyway, that's all I can do. Thank you.
Well said, Rob.
Okay.